That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I had 4 years of.
Did we start?
That.
All right, now we're gonna get going. We'll call the meeting to order at 6:34. So we'll do roll call?
Yep. Here.
Yeah.
Okay, Chair Anderson. Vice Chair Villa,
Here?
Commissioner Porter,
Oh, here, sorry.
Commissioner McCormick,
Here.
Commissioner Moreno, Commissioner Taylor, and Commissioner Zamora.
Here.
Okay, we'll jump into secretary's report.
Yeah, so the agenda was posted on Friday, April 4th.
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda? Right.
A second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor? Right, that's how it goes? Okay, hi. See what Melanie is like. Like a chicken with my head cut off. Okay. All right, so I think that's good. Now approval of the minutes. Can I get a motion to move? Oh, thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Nice, thank you. Okay. Moving on to the public comment on items not on the agenda.
Yeah, I think our two guests are here for a very specific item later on the agenda, so I don't think we have any public comments or something off the agenda we'll talk about. All right.
Great, okay, so moving on to old business.
Actually, let me, if I can make a recommendation.
Yeah.
It just dawned on me, if the commission is okay with it, let's move
Swapping.
8.2 up to the
Yeah.
next item, since
Okay.
we have guests here for that, and then that way they
Yep.
can,
Good.
they can take off.
I love that.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course, yeah.
Thank you.
So I'll give the staff report. So this, the city has received a request, to transfer $1,985.04 in interest income from the Gilroy Museum Endowment Trust to the Museum Donations Fund. This is a process done every year. And it is, stems from a vase that was sold, and the proceeds are endowment then, that stays in perpetuity, and the interest is then transferred for use by the museum. And so it is a normal routine matter that the commission issues a recommendation either to approve the transfer or not to the city council. The city council will ultimately call a meeting, make that determination about transfer. So happy to answer any questions, and we have requesters here in the audience if they want to speak about anything or if the commission has any questions.
Just a question, what the donation funds are typically used for as a new commissioner. It's good for me to.
They're typically used for the collection. In fact, under the terms of the trust, they have to be used for the collection. Now,
Not for salaries,
no,
not for the building upkeep, but for the collection. To do conservation and preservation and.
it translates into boxes for artifacts, racks to store them on, this type of thing. So, it's much appreciated.
Might you in a couple sentences explain to the new people what this is about? The base and all that, so they get.
Everything.
Yeah. Are you gonna?
The
They could just start
chairperson.
presentation, right?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, because then could you please explain it again?
Thank you. So my name is Connie Rogers. I am the president of the Gilroy Historical Society. And we are part of a public-private partnership with the city. So the city owns the building and the collection. But the society, we provide the staff, which we saved up our money for 11 years in order to, and got a lot of donations so that we have enough money to pay a half-time salary to Susan, the manager. So we felt that, you know, the city almost closed the museum in 2008 when there was a financial downturn. And it was our feeling as the society that if we could provide paid staff, the city wouldn't close it. So anyway, then the trust fund,
Yeah, thank you.
is a Gilroy resident, Nod Driscoll, had this great big German ceramic vase, was 4 feet wide and 4 feet tall, and it had pictures of King Wilhelm II and his palaces. But it didn't fit with the museum's mission to collect only things related to Gilroy. So we got the okay to sell it, and we were very fortunate to sell it at auction in New York City, and we watched it on computers, which was pretty exciting. So before that sale happened, we asked the city manager then if we could establish a trust fund, since it was something that belonged to the museum, and could we create the trust fund so that the money would end up being used for the benefit of the museum. That is why we're here. And I also want to say, all of you are very important to us,
Yeah.
because you are our pathway to the city council, who has to okay things. If we sell anything, if we de-accession any artifacts, it has to be approved by the city council, but it will come to you first for your recommendation. So we depend on you, and we hope you become interested in the museum. We have, well, Susan, I hope will be able to tell you what we're doing there. We have a lot of volunteers in addition to herself being paid only half times. That's our story, but thank you for asking, Camille. I appreciate that. And also, before I leave, we would like to send you a complimentary copy of our subscription to our newsletter, which only comes out 4 times a year. So if you would be willing to give me your mailing address, then we will put you on our distribution list and send you. Yeah. Thank you.
Bryce, did you by any chance give the commissioners report I sent you?
I don't actually recognize that. I got the letter hand copy, but I don't know that
I sent it earlier. Actually, then,
Yeah, she sent her PowerPoint several days.
yeah,
I don't recognize, but
Okay.
I'll dig for it and see if I'll find it and send to the commission.
Yeah.
If you're willing to present it. It's a good time.
Yes, please let Susan present.
yeah.
I think it's-
Yeah.
I'll be- To walk you through it, I'll summarize a little bit, since you don't have the figures in front of you. But we do this annually. As we said, you are our gateway to the council. So it's important that you know what we are doing in the course of the year. So this is the 2024 year in summary. We have counting board members, about 30 volunteers, but there's actually on a day-to-day basis closer to about 18 that come in and work. They accomplished 2,626 volunteer hours last year. That's actually about 375 hours less than the year before, and for a very good reason. One of our volunteers have been at the museum for 18 years, coming in on every Tuesday and Thursday and working 6 hours a day. It would take 4 volunteers coming, new volunteers coming on Tuesdays and Thursdays every week to replace her. We haven't had that response yet, but we have more in the pipeline. I expect those hours to
Those volunteers are volunteers through the city. They have to be, fingerprinted and, have a DOJ clearance and so forth. So they're city volunteers, but they're also museum volunteers.
Yeah. And that's standard operating procedure for the city of Gilroy. And we're grateful for that because number one, the city pays for their background check. And we require that. The things in the museum might come under the heading, some of them, of a lot of old junk for a lot of people. But actually, they are irreplaceable in terms of speaking about an era and a time that has now gone past. I'm going to go, I have page 2 with a lot of statistics. I'm just going to go through this very quickly. You do have a lot of new board members with this time. So let me give you an idea of our standard programs. We give school tours by appointment, and we have Saturday walking tours 10 times a year, which Connie takes everyone on. She also takes the school kids on a walking tour in addition to their museum. We offer other tours for groups and adults. We go out to various fairs. We've been over to the senior center and their resource. We were just at the teen volunteer and job fair. We will be up at Gavilan College in May at the diversity fair and back over to the senior center for a repeat performance there. We have one program which we have developed in terms of coordination with other museums in the state. It's sponsored by California Preservation Society. It's called Open Doors. We give a behind the scenes tour of the lower part of the museum. So if you come over, usually on the first Saturday or the second Saturday of the month in September, we'll give you a tour of our downstairs where all the work takes place. And then last year, we were able, in conjunction with the La Funde Festival, to set up an altar for, I'm sorry, my pronunciation.
No, that was great. No, no, I'm just happy.
She's got Spanish too.
Yeah.
See, what you want. Yeah.
Anyway, we set up an altar for the month of November. We honored a founding member of the society, Al Gagliardi, and also Roberta Hewen, who was a director. And I really appreciated being able to do that for a number of reasons. We had a tour of Italian college students that went through, and I don't speak Italian, but unfortunately they had some English and an interpreter. And this experience of the altar and remembrance was not something that was part of their tradition. We also had a student school tour, 2 of them during that month. And while the teachers had not put up altars in their classroom, they were going to. So it worked out perfectly for the teacher because we oriented her students to the entire class. So it was both fun and heartwarming. Both families made it a point to come by the museum to take a look at how we had honored the people, and everyone had very positive comments. So that's obviously something we're going to continue on a regular basis. Now, did you have an idea of what we're talking about here? I'll give you a few numbers. We have 646 combination of students and adults who went on walking and school tours. That's Connie's Saturday tours and then school tours for the children. We cleared 106 research requests. These are people who call us up. My great grandma died in Gilroy, and I'd like a copy of her obituary. We get a lot of those kind of requests. We also get things, our photos are sometimes quite popular, and you'll see some of those, depending on where you shop.
US Bank.
Mhm.
There you go. 276 students experienced our traveling trunks. These are replica trunks which go out to classrooms and then tour the schools. We have two different time periods. One is right around, thank you, Ryan.
Sorry. About that.
That's
Thank you very much, emails.
Yes. And we're at the second slide.
Yeah.
If you're looking.
Yep.
Okay,
Great.
the
Thanks, Frank.
are, we have a 1900 themed one right around there. And another one, but that represents the Ohlone period or the Amahoots and heritage that we have. Senior Resource Fair and the Open Door and the altar I have all mentioned. In terms of the we have 1,144 people walking our door. Now, this is just visitors on a daily basis. That is not school children. That represents the 763 increase over 2023. We had a 9% increase in program participants. That is an amalgam of everything we do and everyone we touch. So all the way from our research request through our tours and everything else.
Wow. How do you guys do it all?
I know.
I had a feeling.
It's a volunteer who do it and with a smart, hybrid bunch of people. In 2023, when I was here, if you were also here, you might remember the picture on the left-hand side. We had, or we have, 220 trained works in the museum. They range from 100-year-old hand-stitched samplers through a K-fob teacher of the 70s, 80s, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyway, we have concluded, as you can see by the open cover, that project. We finished it in June of last year, and we have fill the cupboard. I keep hoping to find someplace I can stuff one more. I'm sorry, the shelves are full.
Wow.
Well, sometimes one of the finance department members asked if she could borrow or use a painting that we have that the city purchased many years ago,
Mm.
when the city used to have art shows. She said, I need something for my office, and did she come and get it?
I gave her a choice. I'm friends. I'm sorry, good thing. We do have some, framed works which we are going to eventually de-accept. That term has to be removed from the museum. And the reason for that is it does not fit our mission.
Our criteria, it has to be something that pertains to Gilroy or at least South County.
Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, we don't have room. We don't have much room anyway. That's what she's been making space out of.
Amazing.
Not quite thin yet, but we're working on it. Yeah,
Tetris game.
yeah, well, I was here, and one of the goals for 2020, in 2023, one of the goals of 2024 was to make some storage space. We have been successful. When I started this project, I had one small, relatively small section of the downstairs space in mind. We have now graduated from phase one to planning 3 phases of reorganization. You'll hear more about 2 and 3 in a minute. But we started the reorganization in December, moving things around. In January, I had 11 high school students and 7 museum volunteers there on Saturday, and in about 2 hours, they moved 132 bound copies of the newspaper,
Wow.
which are about yay thick.
Wow.
And heavy.
Yes, and they moved them down 14 steps in the museum and into the basement for us, where they were put in permanent storage on industrial steel racks, which is recommended for museum storage. So that space was now available. You can see the cubbies behind our 3 volunteers that are standing there. We moved, or the next week, I should say, professional movers, thank God. Moved 6 990-pound fireproof files from the basement up the steps and into the research room. They also carted out a variety of open shelf wooden furniture that had been left over from the library that we had been using for storage. That wood is not the best storage medium for artifacts because it is a natural substance. It off gases, acetic gases, and if you remember your high school chemistry, you want something that's neutral pH. So we got rid of quite a bit of wood furniture. We have a little bit more to do. We figured that one out yet. That's gonna be a little magic. But we now have our fireproof files upstairs. We're working on the 2025 goal, which is to move all our photographs that are currently stored in boxes upstairs. That will get us 61 boxes out of the downstairs. And we will have at least 1 empty rack to put things on, so that's part of the 2025 goal. But you can see our volunteers, part of the work there, they moved in that cases, some 25 drawers from one side of the museum all the way over to the other. And then they had to move them again because we had to put a heavier duty set of wheel that could actually move the cabinet on there.
Good
So,
question for you guys. Would you guys be able to do any kind of digitization, like moving, old newspapers to microfiche or?
the library actually has done some of that,
Okay,
not all of it. Last I heard, and they were fortunate to get a federal grant when money was available.
you're right.
And that project is very typical of what libraries and museums, for that matter, will use federal money for. Eventually, we may, our needs at present are just lower on the totem pole. But we do regularly refer people to the library if we can't fill their request. And we have indexed the newspapers to workers, deaths, and marriages. So we have that genealogical information there.
That's incredible.
So, we're doing the best we can on that, but it takes money. And we have a few needs that are just more essential for us.
Absolutely.
We are still collecting. And a collecting mix, as the pictures will show you. We had a donor come in with her great grandmother's kitchen set, and not everybody could name everything. Photos.
Wow.
We posted this on the society's Facebook site, and fortunately, there were others in the community that could tell me we had an orange peeler and a peeler. I had to read what we collect is very wide. We collect clothing, everyday things. The Spring sign, that was wonderful, being able to get that. We have photos of spring, we also have work that is on the wall for it. So we have things that we can join together to tell the story. All right, that's where we've been. I think you will probably be interested in it, or that we're not all falling asleep over there. So, phase one of our storage plan is complete. We are now embarking on phase two, which is two-part. One is our photo catalog, moving everything out of the downstairs, moving them upstairs. Our total photo collection that is cataloged, and we do have more photos than we have cataloged, is 7,006 photos. We have quite a bit of work to do. I think I will be talking to you about this next year. In addition to moving them, we are taking greater advantage of our software, which allows search terms, classification, and subject terms. When the catalog moved from the spreadsheet to museum-specific software, the emphasis was get things in so we know where they are. So we have not exploited the wide capacity of the database, and this is a step in that direction. Our phase three storage reorganization is to get a few things. This year, I promised you last year, I was gonna try and come with a list. That didn't happen. This year, I intend to come with a list. There is a formal process for doing this. We come to you with our list. You can question it, look it over. If you approve it, you pass that recommendation on to the city council. Hopefully, it goes on their consent calendar and we're in business. We own those items, so we will have a variety of options. We can place them with other museums if they are so inclined. If they are not in good shape, we can pass them on to the Salvation Army and someone repairs them. We can sell them, in which case the money would go into the trust fund that and accrue interest, which we would then come with as we have tonight. So, I hope to be able to do this. I'm not gonna fence myself in too much by the end of the year. Okay.
Wow.
In addition, our usual programs, school tours, research requests, all the rest, that continues to go forward. And I'm going to pitch you, since you are our representative, if you know anyone who has, you don't have to be a history expert. I take just about anybody who can walk in the door and pass background check with the city of Gilroy. We do have steps, so, they have to be able to negotiate those. So, please tell people we're a volunteer opportunity. We are trying a little bit of an experiment. The work that the high school volunteers did for us was excellent. The kids were on task. I can't say enough. And they got the worst end of the job. They walked down the steps, back again, until 132 books got out to the downstairs. And I did have some 6 of them doing it, but they stayed busy. So we're looking at the possibility in May of trying out a youth volunteer program and bringing them on Saturdays. We're open 10 to 4, first 2 Saturdays of the month. So that would expand our capacity a little bit. And if this goes well in trial, we may be doing it on a regular basis, or we may be doing it during the school year when everybody's kind of blocked into a schedule and not going off vacation and things like that. So that pretty much completes my report. If you have any additional questions, I would also say, we're in an interesting time. And the role of museums is to record, to tell the story. But that's not its only role. It is a place for reflection on how well we function as a society. I think one of the roles of museums as society's conscience. There, it's important to sustain them and keep them independent and healthy. If you can aid in that cause, please do. I'm getting messages of help from the organizations that we belong to. And if you are so inclined, send your representative a message, tell them museums that.
You bet.
Thanks,
So, that's not bad. Wow. I love that.
Amazing.
Wow.
Well, I am gonna ask people who would like to get our society newsletter. I know Brianna already does. But if you would write down your name and your mailing address.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you for, yeah.
Yes, please.
Well,
I've been dying for one of those Saturday tours.
You bet. This is-
When's the next one?
The first two Saturdays.
yeah, May 3rd.
Yeah.
Okay.
May 3rd, also on May 3rd, same day, different time, we are co-sponsoring with the library a program on Eurostack, the Mutson Heritage Area. And Valentin Lopez is coming to
Oh,
talk
wow.
about that.
That's amazing. What date is that?
Saturday, May 3rd. So
Okay, May
the
3rd.
walking tour is at 10 in the morning and the library is at 1 in the afternoon.
Amazing.
I think you might already be on our mailing list, Ruben, are you?
I'm not sure. I don't know if I've gotten anything, because this is to my home, right?
Yeah, it was.
Well, wherever you get
Yeah.
your mail.
I don't think I've received.
I like their name.
We don't bother you too much, maybe 4 times a year.
That's no trouble.
One person I know said, I can't stand another piece of paper in my house.
I
I just have to reiterate, so this is voluntary, this is not.
Yes, it's voluntary, it's absolutely voluntary.
And
Right.
tell them quickly, like even the last thing, if they. You know,
Good night.
they honor, people, I mean, the community members, and just, what you just did. Yeah. I mean,
Well,
you know.
so welcome to all you new commissioners.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Meet you.
Yeah, thank you for participating in your community.
Yes.
However you
Yeah.
do it, these, I former city staff person and secretary to this commission. So it's important, and it's important to remind the community that arts and culture in whatever form flourish here. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Amen.
That's right.
Amen to that.
That's it.
Pleasure.
Casey.
No.
Oh,
Thank you very
And then we have
much.
to
for
do
giving
that.
Thank you. That was amazing. Always my favorite presentation.
Oh.
Always. So good every time.
Time. I know.
We put our hearts into it.
I can see that. It's so thorough. That's what I'd expect. That's
Yeah.
great. Okay.
So we still need to have, an action on the
Yeah.
actual transfer.
$1,900 worth of extra.
I move to approve the funds as requested.
Thank you.
Can I get a second?
I was seconded. Oh, go ahead.
Yes, so those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Alright, excellent.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank
you.
Aye.
I'm sorry about the, kerfuffle with the PowerPoint stuff.
That was great. Thank you.
And
Fires
when you get the April newsletter, you can read in detail what it took to move this, the center folder.
Yeah.
Top bill.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Awesome. Okay, so now we jump into old business,
Yeah.
7.1. Okay. Old business fiscal year 26-27 work plan.
Yes, Commissioner, so this is a standing item that we're gonna have on the agenda to kind of go over the items from the work plan. I did have an update on the furlough of Gilroy event, so in speaking with the administrator, just because of the timing of everything, a presentation is not needed to go to council for the next season. It is within his authority to approve it. So we can proceed, the commission can proceed with the next season of furlough of Gilroy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Love it.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
We'll need
So that
the
means-
committee to come together, still to do pop artists and identify the number of banners that are being
Okay.
desire.
Okay.
Just kind of look at those logistics, but fortunately, I think there's still all the stuff from the first one and
Yeah.
lessons learned from the first one
Listen,
as well.
exactly.
So,
Okay. Okay, so next steps for that will be to have the subcommittee, come together, is that?
yeah, that'd be a recommendation.
Okay.
It's up to the subcommittee members, how they wish to proceed with that.
And we have who's on the subcommittee somewhere?
Yeah, that's in the, staff report, so it's, Chair Reyes and
Yeah.
Vice Chair Rubin
Okay.
and Commissioner Porter.
Can you add somebody to that?
No, we can make a special meeting, so it's up to the commission, if once you get four together, it's an official meeting on the ground.
Yeah, that's,
But that
that's
is-
why I didn't say anything yet.
Doesn't say it's up to the.
Because I wanted to make the space for the new people.
Yeah, so, the selection of the designs would still come back to the full
The council.
commission. It'd just be the logistics that would be of the event, there would be the subcommittee. Last time the experience was, there was planning on the call for artists document going out.
Right.
Really, once it started kind of getting closer, it was every meeting
Yeah.
of the full commission to do the planning and the finalization.
Yeah,
It's really up to the subcommittee and the commission as far as if, how much must be planned out here with the full committee versus subcommittee.
You don't want, no, you just want to keep it simple.
Well, it's whatever the commission wants to
Subcommittee.
do. So at this point, it's the work of the commission or the subcommittee, it's just whatever is desired by the commission. We're not going on that side. So we'll help, whatever approach the commission wants to take.
got it. Okay, so that would be, I think we can maybe set up a time.
Yeah.
For, once Melanie's back.
That's yeah, 'cause she's
Yeah.
gone for a while right now, right?
I believe she's back in the next week.
Oh,
but,
even better.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we'll be okay there, but maybe I'll just send her a message and maybe we can jump on a text or
Yeah.
something. That's probably pretty easy there. Okay, so then that still means though that the funds are coming out of the Arts and Culture Commission funds, right? Got it, okay. And do we know what our,
We can, yeah, we'll resume
Yeah.
the report, yeah.
okay, good, yeah, so we can know how
So
much is it.
there's, we had looked at, there's enough based on the previous, the cost of the first year, but 2 more years of that.
Okay, without any,
Without
other
any
funding.
committed funds. So,
Got it.
we'll bring that back, the next meeting, the balances.
Okay, let's do. Very happy that was approved. Amazing. Do we know about the multicultural communities funding as well?
So the rest of the items will need to go to this, as part of the work plan to the council.
Okay,
We're doing the For the Love of Joy earlier because keeping to the last time we're at we need to start the work
Yeah.
before the fiscal year
yeah,
gets approved. So that's why we're able to proceed with this one. The others are new requests and
Yeah.
the council has to weigh in on
got it.
that.
Okay,
So for multicultural community days, I sent an email to the other subcommittee members. Already heard back from Commissioner Taylor, kind of approving a little bit of a workup, the description to send to city council along with the amended, request for funding and event numbers.
Yeah.
So if you want me to really quickly read it out, it just says, the Arts and Culture Commission proposes twice annual multicultural events featuring performances and family-friendly classes from a diverse range of local dance groups and genres, including folklorico, Indian, Hawaiian, Japanese, and hip-hop. Events could also include talks or multimedia displays on the cultural and historical development of each dance genre. So, Commissioner Taylor said he approved. I did not hear back from, Melanie yet. So, when she returns, I'll try to ping her again. But if the rest of the commission approves, perhaps we could proceed with at least adding that description to the work plan before we present to council.
my understanding is that you as a subcommittee have full control of moving forward with something without necessarily needing like quote unquote official approval by the rest of the commission. Is that correct or no?
No, no, so sorry, so there's certain new ways of playing logistics, but ultimately, at some point has to come back to the full commission.
Got it, got it. Okay.
action.
Okay,
Especially anything that's going as official communication to the commission. So in this case, since the work plan document is official communication to the council, it has to be approved by the commission as well.
awesome.
And so same with like for the one for Gilroy, so there's logistics and planning. We're able with the approval of the city administrator, his authority to just go ahead and proceed with it.
Got it.
Otherwise, we would have to go to the council and proceed with the process that way.
Okay,
So that's a kind of a special nuance to it. But as we go and like we do the call for artists to recall, and it's been a while, that call for artists document goes back to the full commission to weigh in and comment on it.
makes sense.
And that's one of the reasons why, like, when we kind of talk about the subcommittees and what the subcommittee happens, because otherwise, if everything went into the commission meetings, that would be kind of a problem as we go.
Yeah,
And so the process we're doing is perfect so far. We just can't make it official as part of what kind of submission to the council without having the full
Got it.
commission being weighed in on it.
Okay, so do we not have, so without chair approval, are we waiting on that or?
You can submit, so generally what we'd like to do is probably have, imagine, again, it's up to the commission, but typically provide in writing in an agenda packet for an official kind of
Okay,
direction on it. If the commission is comfortable with the language as it is now, we can do that. Any communication, again, is written, so if there's other amendments to the work plan document that's desired by any of the other subcommittees, then it'd be a good time to start working on that, so that way
okay,
a comprehensive document can move out to the city council.
okay.
at this point, would it be good to like weigh in? So we can weigh in at this point now, right?
Yes.
Kind of, I think it would be really cool to have, it's city-owned property as well, but the Art Center for the Arts, like, so maybe call out the location, a potential location for these, like a home. That way they know kind of where we're thinking. If we wanted to identify maybe what quarters of the year, like maybe Q2 and Q4 or something like that,
Yeah.
or we can kind of give them more specifics. I don't necessarily think they need a date in place, but I think like a potential home and like a general vicinity of time period, I think is probably like a good idea to include.
It's a great idea.
Are there
What
other
did you say?
specificities you would recommend on that?
I mean, at this point, just because it's so early in the planning and getting task approval, it's probably about as much as we could do
Yeah, right.
effectively, unless you want to identify the program or programs for the first one or something like that to give them an idea of what the event actually going to
Interesting.
entail. But again, that's really kind of advanced before even really knowing if it's approved.
Right.
So.
I wouldn't want to
it's-
reach out to any particular groups,
Yeah.
yeah, just because you don't want to
Get
start
myself-
planning
yeah.
without, there being.
But maybe a general description, like it's
Yes.
gonna have, dance performances and, you kind of talked about it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then,
Like
really
potential
what-
program
to
would
programs,
include A, B,
and
C.
so like, and maybe like what the money is, well, what parts of that the money is gonna be used for, is it paying for the performances, is it paying for power and, that kind of thing is where for some of our council, each council member has, different areas to kind of focus on, and so some are actually making sure that the funds are being used well, and others are programming, so being a broad, diverse, hit as far as different things for council to think about in the plan, and to weigh out the work plan is wants.
Yeah,
Okay, so we can kind of maybe iron out those details with the subcommittee in the next month and then come back with some handouts for the agenda. But I have sent them to you first to be put on the agenda specifically. Okay,
and then are we okay timeline wise as far as getting it in front of city council, waiting till next month?
Yeah, May 13th. Our budget meeting is tentatively scheduled for May 12th. That may change in time. That's workshop study session. The work plan documents will be adopted with the budget in the first meeting of June. So it's close. Ideally, if it may be advisable for the subcommittees to each to work on their narrative, they're willing to include it. And then we can combine it into one final document. Consideration of the meeting.
And when is our
Alternatively,
next
if the commission
commission
wants.
meeting?
May
When is our meeting?
13th?
May 13th.
Okay.
Alternatively, if the commission, full commission wants to meet a special meeting can be called to consider earlier than that. If they buy more time. There won't be a lot of time to make any changes after the two.
Right.
The next meeting for this commission would then be probably after adoption of council, because they're the first Monday in June. For the council meeting for adoption, and we're out to the second Tuesday.
Right.
So we would May 13th would be the last day possible.
Okay.
So but it doesn't, is it like on a rolling basis, like the sooner the better, or as long as we can commit to approving, having done the work in our subcommittees, and ready to present to our body here on May 13th, do you feel like that will get us?
Yeah, so what will happen is again, this is something that's done often with city council as well. We can bring the document, the commission can weigh in, make edits, and basically, once the commission is agreeable with any edits in the totality of it, make that part of the motion, hey, we'll approve this with the edits identified. Then what happened is we would then modify the document, and then I would chair and vice chair to basically sign off on the finalized version to approve the council.
Okay.
So that's probably the option that would be to make the 13th work as the next check.
Okay. So then I think the recommendation would be for us to meet as subcommittees, I think, for our respective subcommittees, so that we can make sure we come to the next meeting with our subcommittee proposals to then kind of work out the details.
The one I was thinking of is the one we updating the strategic plan, just because the language, but it reaches so far out. I mean, years wise, how they did, I think they did like a 10-year outreach. So the only thing is, when we're talking about making like, as a subcommittee, is we can come up with a certain amount of ideas. But once we present it on the 13th, I feel bad to say like, hey, this is all the ideas we had, blah, 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 without getting other people's input of what they think would be a good, 5-year outreach or whatever. And we can't really ask them because we can't meet without the quorum.
Yeah.
So what I was gonna say is, would it be better than if we did, subcommittee comes up with all the plans and then we make, or have a move to have like a, another meeting or emergency meeting or whatever in the sense, so that we can present it before the 13th?
Well, in this case, I don't think for updating the strategic plan, that's not anything that we're presenting to council.
Is it, or is it?
We don't have to have done the.
No, so, yeah. So,
I
so
was like,
from my understanding, because the description is basically a description of the work plan.
Just to do it, okay.
What's
So you
the,
would identify-
Well, then that's just amazing.
yeah. Not to actually do the work.
Yeah, it's just identifying, I think that, if I'm wrong, because it's something I know that you guys generated. It's something to kind of help articulate to council the reason, like kind of the justification, what the benefit of.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it doesn't have to actually be identifying how the work plan is going to be done. This one's a little different because it's a performance and a scope. The strategic plan is a little different, because planning, like I said, it's a planning document.
Yeah,
It's a lot more involved, a lot longer process, but just kind of generally describing what it is that you're hoping to do, updating this document
yeah,
from 10 years old or longer. And what you're looking at, yes, what you're looking at for going forward. And then, talk about probably, what process you're going to, very loosely, that you're development process.
Yeah.
To go forward with that. I think that would be sufficient for this purpose, because really it's just identifying for the council, this is what we want to work on, not necessarily exactly what we live on.
yeah.
So, for the Love of Gilroy is a little different because it's a program they
Yeah.
have approved, and so that has a lot more set already kind of going forward. The others are all brand new.
Yeah,
And so it's really presenting to council, ground level, this is what we're going to do and why we're going to do it.
yeah,
And noting, and we did that in the previous work plan as well, stating that, I think it was the community event. It's like, we're gonna see if it's feasible.
mhm,
We're not committing that we are going to deliver it, we're gonna see if it's gonna work, end up working out, and that's what the board will go.
Yeah.
So I would suggest maybe something like that.
Okay.
This is, letting council know, this is something we're trying.
yeah,
We don't have it fully formed out, but we want to make sure council approves it before investing time and money.
mhm,
Yeah.
sounds great,
That's-
yeah.
Right, okay, so then, um. For the love of Gilroy, I'll take care of getting the subcommittee together. The multicultural days, it seems like you're taking care of that, moving
Sure, I
that
can-
forward.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think once Melanie's back, it'll flow more easily.
Yeah,
And then the fundraising event gala, so we're looking at, McCormick, Grayson and Taylor. Is there a time that y'all have identified to maybe connect on something like that? No? So I think, if y'all can make that, happen during
Yeah.
before the next meeting. So basically just, and it could just be, Camille writing out, any one of you three just writing out exactly what Bryce mentioned, which was just essentially like a little blurb about why we want to do this and what's the purpose and that kind of thing. And that way there's something to start from and look at the next meeting. And then the last one, would you like to gather us together to
Yeah,
kind
the three of
yeah.
us, yeah, so I
Okay.
mean, yeah, we can start doing that, because I know that you already said I think you already said you made revisions on some parts in a way, or you read, or.
I
what
think
did you-
some very light edits, just the
Yeah.
language and.
Yeah,
And just sort of highlighting some questions.
Yeah, so once we get together,
Probably.
I think we should just make like a doc where we can all kind of make like an edit each and just show like how we're wanting to move forward and something of that sort.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And that's fine, right? Doing that?
Mhm.
Okay, good. Sure, I'm always double checking. As long as there's only 3 of us working on that document. then-
How that goes.
Please,
Oh, I know.
it's for.
Yeah, yeah,
I could give you guys some recommendations because my background is as an editor.
yeah,
So
that's why I'm like, yeah, that's why,
I'll
yeah,
talk to you guys
Yeah.
about like what's a good way
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
proceed without having too many cooks in the kitchen. and
yeah,
Perfect.
Kind of, doing over each other's work and.
yeah,
All right. Okay,
And then if for some reason, as the subcommittees are working on this, if you want to schedule a meeting here at City Hall, we can work to find space for that. If you want one of us to be present, that's for something that, that's
Okay.
from a staff person. We can't do the work.
but you're gonna be here in case,
But
yeah,
be present as far as answering questions that may come up.
Yeah, that may be something we can talk about too,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's smart, thank you.
Okay, so then, is that it for the 26-27 work plan update? Then?
That's all, it's staff.
Yeah, right? Okay. So then we can move on to new business?
Yep.
Consideration of creating a public arts resource book.
Yes. So Commissioners, this is, kind of the future agenda item request from the last meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Where there's discussion about wanting to talk about creating an arts resource book. Other terms reviews, guidelines, information materials for developers, those type of things, but this is a space for that discussion we held now.
Okay. I need a refresher on what this was about.
This is the one where they was practically, it was kind of like a book of a biography of the artist within Gilroy, correct? And kind of just so that if future businesses come here, that they can see the artwork that's already around Gilroy and get an idea of what to move forward for their own projects.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
general
so-
guidelines,
Yeah,
So,
so like sort of portfolios.
Yeah.
Different local
which I
artists.
think they said there's kind of in a little bit already had worked on.
in the past, it sounds like it, from what was discussed earlier, I think it was the Public Art Committee.
Right.
comparison in the past.
Right.
I have not seen that yet. Maybe it's probably buried somewhere in
Yeah.
some file somewhere. So I know the discussion involved on a couple of things. One was artist portfolios. One was talking about requirements for public art. So the nature of the documents kind of changed in the very, very light, discussion we had last time.
Mhm.
So it would really just be up to commission what it's really looking for out of this project, if it wants to proceed with this project.
Mhm.
Makes
And then
sense.
if the commission wants to add a single,
think
or
it-
just keep it off. Because you don't have to put all the work that you're doing in the work plan.
Yeah,
Right.
It's really big things that you want council support for, things that might require money. That type of thing. It sounds like, depending on where the commission goes, may not rise up to.
I think it's a really like awesome tool for us to have. I just feel like we already have four other things that might be very time consuming at this point, with not much time to actually meet to complete the fifth item as well at this time. But that's just my
I think it's something to kind of work on as we can, but not necessarily add to the work plan at this point.
yeah,
And then, if we kind of get the ball rolling and start to see that in the next year or so, as we get into the flow
yeah,
of the events that we've had planned, we could potentially start tackling it more, with a little bit more verve, I suppose.
yeah,
But I think it would be really helpful, especially where there's, a new city hall being planned and, there's
Good point.
potentially
Yeah.
new developments happening,
Yeah.
through the city and, just to be able to say, hey, this is what's already here. This is generally what public art needs to do.
yeah,
Those at least can be kind of pretty easy to tick off. And then creating a portfolio, well, from the love of Kilroy could potentially provide us with, certain kinds of art depending on, who's submitting and
yeah.
what level of artistic quality, we're
Yeah, that
seeing.
makes
And
I guess the hard thing about it is to see how much depth, it's gonna take, because, yeah, that's probably
Yes.
right at that point.
The how and the what is very,
Yeah,
very open. I have spoken to Erin, Freitas.
Who's that? Who?
She's in,
She's one of our planners in the community development department.
Oh, God.
And so just kind of talking about on that, if that's if to proceed with that one, so in talking with the community development department, the director wants to be involved in select who would be assigned. If any
Oh,
staff
that's-
support is
yeah.
provided, but I mean, you feel free to report out whatever you talk to Aaron about.
Yeah.
But that's one thing I just want to make sure that especially with it, when we're doing something from like development and other departments, the department directors are the one I set in charge who we can have access to.
Yeah.
For what amount, but go ahead, sorry.
okay, no, that's perfect. Yeah, so, Aaron reached out about, some support or potential, and I kind of presented an idea of potential collaboration with the commission to in the vein of something like this, because at the moment, it seems that developers are kind of left to fend for themselves when it comes to their responsibility to meet the, what do you call it?
Requirements.
The requirement
Yeah.
for the public art, or for the public art component for
Mhm.
their development projects. And so, being part of the commission, I just, I said I can help be a liaison up to this point to kind of figure out what questions these developers are asking.
yeah,
right.
It seems like this developer in particular seems to be very organized and has done due diligence, but not all developers actually I've seen done a lot of homework before to this point. This developer has come, they've done a search for artists and has done a great job, but has only been able to identify artists not inside of Gilroy.
Mhm.
So our hope is that, and I've recommended to them the same of like, if we're gonna do something for this community, of course, we would love to see it be a local artist,
Mhm.
right? And how can we do it? And then depending on the specific projects, we might have a potential, maybe like a playbook of sort of what this would be that we could then, as a city, whether it's the city proper or the Arts and Culture Commission, kind of handing them a playbook of this is what you would do in or this is what you would do potentially, like do some homework, like kind of, maybe bodies that they could reach out to, like the Gilroy Arts Roundtable,
Yeah.
potential, maybe again, with time, we can build up a roster of certain like the city of San Jose, the Public Arts Commission for the city of San Jose has a roster that they identify artists and lock them in as approved artists for 5 years. And that list then becomes handed to any developer that wants to do a project. They already have a list of
Right.
approved artists. They select
Yeah.
based off their portfolio and the type of work. And then they don't have to kind of go back and forth with the city to say like, is this artist okay? It's like,
Yeah.
no, we've done our homework. We've addressed things, we have a diverse pool of artists, we have a diverse mediums of artists, et cetera. Like all these things have already been wrapped into this playbook and roster, which of course, is not an easy feat to do. So that's why I feel like at least that it's on our radar is important. And I don't know necessarily what, because I know it would take time to develop. I don't know what's the proper, is it better to keep it as a standing item so that we don't forget about it, but not put it on the work plan? Or what's like the way that we can address this thing that feels like, even hearing it directly from the city saying like, we kind of need some support here, because I think it also comes down to, I think, customer service and like our relationship with the developers that are coming into our community, right?
Well,
Kind
I-
of giving them something.
I have one idea,
Mhm.
which is that we can at least have an agenda item to begin exploration by having Erin or whoever's liaison with us start collecting, all the questions that are coming from developers.
Mhm.
And, having that
Yeah.
to look at probably help us then identify better,
Mhm.
what the scope of this might look like. That and, what are the public arts requirements here? And, what kind of information is being communicated to them? Or are they just kind of given absolutely no direction at this point? So, just exploration, I think, is probably a great starting point. I don't know how that works into the agenda. Bryce would know better.
So it depends on, so if we can have any item to stand agenda item, as long as it's on the agenda, it can be discussed. The question would be is what structure, how frequently that wants to be done. That's again at the commission. So basically, this would be somebody has to make a motion and action to place on our current agenda item. I think at this point, just because of the nature of this is essentially you're creating it's a work task on an agenda. It's not official work plan, so the council, you're reporting on it unless, obviously achievement or whatever. But the annual, report, as far as work plan itself, there's no, it could be kind of standard part item. I would say this is probably be the most integrated with city operations, so there need to be the understanding that, again, I'd have to talk to the community development director to find out what if they want to proceed with, what meeting would work for them to come. I think that would probably be the first step. Is to find out, well, what's the clearly stated need that, obviously planning is identified as being to be present, and have a discussion with the commission to see, just to make sure that both sides of the discussion are seeing the same thing, or talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
So if that's the question, we can do that. But it could take any form that the commission wants to. I just need to know what the commission's will is to make sure that it get on the agenda where it can be discussed.
There is a thought around, also, I think in particular, around I think with the way we phrased things last year or 2 years ago, where it was to like look into the viability of, or like the potential to, et cetera. Is that something that would make sense to just include as a fifth item, as a look into, right? Because that's easily kind of checked off the box as far as like we completed a work plan item. We we kind of connected with the city and had them kind of share with us what the needs are from the developer side. And then if we felt at that point, I mean, that basically would check off the list. We talked about the viability of a potential item so that, we are doing the work and it's not just like I feel like we'll only get to the things that are on the work plan. And if we want to have it be seriously something we consider, it might be good to have it in as and phrased with that, like look into the viability of a whatever we're calling it. Uh, uh, what do we call
Public art.
That's
to-
okay.
to-
Yeah, public art.
Yeah, yeah.
You say it's a working title.
It's a working title. it?
Public source resource, public arts resource
Document.
document or
Mhm.
guidelines.
Yeah, I like that. So I would move to add it to the 26-27 work plan with the wording of looking into the viability of creating the public arts resource document.
Okay.
And then we can add that as item 5. So if I can get a second for that motion. And then all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against?
So one question, I have since it's going on the work plan, subcommittee.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to guess? Does the subcommittee want to form, or do you want to keep this at full commission?
I think we could leave it at the full commission.
Yeah.
Just-
It's not major priority, yeah.
Cause I don't wanna feel like cause otherwise it's in my brain if I'm.
Exactly, yeah.
I don't want it in my brain, just yet. I want to be able to show up here and talk about it, but I don't necessarily think I wanna add it to my brain at the moment. Is this something we can request from you, Bryce, of presenting or showing us what is that requirement that, or how it's worded and presented to, developers? Cause I only know of hearsay what that is, but it would be cool to see the actual writing what that.
Yeah, so really I can kind of give you, so it's the public art policy, which is extremely dated,
Yeah,
I'll say. It needs to be updated overall, mainly because public art committee doesn't exist.
Yeah,
anymore, which
it
is
got
the
dissolved.
time.
So that's why we haven't done it.
And so in it, a developer is not required to present anything to the public, to the public art committee or arts and culture commission, unless the public art is a condition of approval on development. And that's what triggers that part. And so I think it's.
and what
something that
triggers?
will- the planning commission or the planning staff, putting it as a requirement, condition on, I think that this is one of the reasons why I think the first discussion be with somebody from planning staff, or either the director or somebody they want to
Yeah.
designate, in order to come and talk about that process,
Mhm.
how they determine when they condition and they don't condition it. Kind of do that legwork, groundwork to it.
Mhm.
It's a little bit of
And
a
that's been done.
circular, it's like, it's not required unless it's required.
Yeah.
Examples of it. It doesn't mean it's outdated. We have examples around all the developments. They would present it.
Yeah.
So it's not, there's no reference.
Yeah.
It's not in a vacuum.
Yes, no. So, and again, this is actually a great kind of training as well from development. So there's a lot of negotiation. There's some things that are very hardwired and our standards can't be
Yeah.
Negotiated.
negotiated or changed. But there are other things that can be negotiated between the developer and the city, and so that can influence.
We were just looking for Connie Rogers. She left her.
She left.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
And so I think that's a good point for them to kind of talk about their side, because public art, I believe, is one of the things that is negotiable in certain parameters, so they can kind of explain it.
Okay.
Okay.
That's something we could look in scheduling like June or July or something like that.
Yeah, so I'll talk
Whenever
to
that
the,
is.
I'll talk to
Makes more sense.
the director and find out, and her name's Sharon Goey. And so I'll find out what time frame works, and if she may want to present to herself, she might want
Right.
one of the senior planners to come in and present it. See what,
Okay.
how she'll do, but she'll have an option in the different meetings.
Cool.
But, well, that actually, I'll bring up my staff. That just
Okay.
triggers something else. Sorry.
Alright, okay, so then, we're good on 8.1 and we already discussed 8.2.
Can I come back a little bit? Sorry, I think
Mhm.
with commission's, patience, back to 7.1. So one of the things that essentially what just transpired, we're talking about the subcommittees and writing the write-ups for the work plan. It essentially identified leads. And so I don't know if you're wanting those to be the leads on the subcommittee, or if it's just for the purposes of creating the text. The reason I say it is because we have, Vice Chair Dia doing the GOA, we have Commissioner Zamora from Multicultural Days, reporter for the strategic plan. We don't have a person identified for the golf. And so I'm looking to see if any of those three are willing to take on that description. That one, I just knowing who it is, that way I can talk to them and see if there's any support needed. And I don't know if,
Can you repeat the what you have on the list as the lead?
yeah, there's no list, it's just
Oh, okay.
circling who's kind of who unofficially was taking the lead on the
Yeah.
description, talking about
Got it.
it. So I have yourself for the Love and Go Away event,
Mhm.
Commissioner Zamora for the Multicultural Days, Commissioner Porter for the updating arts and culture for strategic plan. I don't have one for the fundraising. So right now, there's nobody prepping any kind of write for that as far as.
No. Done.
Is it
That's a
something?
big thing. A gala is a huge thing.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, I'm not making that up. I'm not
Yeah.
making a lot of work.
No,
It's,
it's-
Oh, yeah.
I'm not, and I'm just saying, so.
Yeah, well, that's
we
what I
need to
wanted
get
to
a little
offer.
more dimensionality,
Yeah. That's what I wanted to find out, because
Yeah.
if it's somebody that
a little bit more
that
dimensionality.
is here that wants to take it on, then I would be
Yeah.
kind of something to help, because that is a big, there's a lot to that one. It's also. Well, again, this is
I
This is my
I
perspective.
hear what you're gonna
this is
say.
my
I know
perspective.
exactly. what
It's
you're
not,
gonna say.
yeah, but I was this is not an official stance, but from my individual
Yeah.
perspective, this is a very fascinating opportunity for the commission. So this is probably this is your real
Huge.
fundraising effort here.
Mhm.
And so this being one of the few commissions that the council is given authority to do fundraising for, this is something that I like to help kind of see.
Yeah.
And provide what commissioners can to seeing that through, because this is a nice opportunity to really to put the fundraising policy essentially to the
Cool,
test.
yeah.
Right.
Cause
So-
if we finally have one, so
It's a
yeah.
big one that's dedicated specifically for fundraising, which is great. It's nice to see that policy, the council approved, in action.
Yeah,
And so, so we can wait on that one. I could, we can
Yeah,
we can let the kind of current description of it stand, which is basically just fundraising golf. And just leave it as it is. But if either, Mr. McCormick or Mr. Taylor wants to take on the writing up of it, I can, or provide some assistance, or we can wait for Melanie.
It's a lot of work. I just went to the fire gala in
It is a lot.
Hollywood. They
Oh,
did it in
nice.
2 months to honor all the fire heroes.
Mhm.
But it's just so much work, and I don't want to say anything, so it has to kind of be realistic, what we can, so, I mean, I'm just saying, that doesn't mean it can't be done.
Yeah.
It's to pull it off.
Yeah, so my understanding, so this is, again, just kind of touching back on what was approved before, it's one event being evaluated potentially within sometime in the 2-year period.
Yeah.
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 It's not, it's
Good.
kind of like, so
Yeah.
that was structured, just like the multicultural community days was very structured and proposal. Kind of language that you
Because you get
mentioned before,
location and
Yeah.
we're gonna
everything.
explore it.
Yeah.
And we're gonna try to deliver it, but it's not,
Yeah,
Mhm.
location.
probably for love of going, it was an attempt and it worked out well.
yeah,
So the
exactly.
question is now with these other additional items.
Location is one of them.
Location for sure.
For that one, I mean,
I
that's,
think
right, yeah.
you know, when I was looking into it initially, I thought, you know, there's some great opportunities for kind of a dinner and a show type of situation. There's some great local theater companies. But you'd have to deck the place out.
Oh, it's,
You know,
yeah, it's
because-
huge, it's
yeah.
huge.
You gotta deck the place out and, you know, bring in catering and bring in tables and linens and all that kind of thing. And, you know,
Gotta have
that
good team,
costs
a good
money.
team.
Yeah. And a very good.
But it can be done.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it can be
I've been
done,
around
I
doing a
think.
lot of them, and I'm
I
not
think-
boasting, but it's a lot of work. And
No,
I'm
yeah.
not mean we can't do it, it's fantastic, we just need good, start with a good location
Yeah.
Mm.
and go from there.
And a
So
good
if you come up with
premise,
some good
right? Like,
locations, let me know.
something that people.
I have
want.
a possibility for that. It's not a
Okay.
huge location, but it might work.
Well, if the larger it is, the better it is.
I know. It's sizable. It's downtown and
How
yeah,
many, about 100 seats?
I could see it doing at least 100. Yeah.
Well, there you go,
All right.
Where's this?
there we go.
You're not saying.
Where's
that.
it?
No, it's a friend of mine that owns a place and
There
I'm
you
nowhere
go.
close to talking to them about it yet.
Well,
It's-
no, there we go.
Yeah.
And that's the start, then you start to build from that.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Absolutely.
So is there specific language we need at the moment, or are we okay with just letting it ride like that?
No, we can let it ride like that.
Yeah,
yeah,
and we can
And
still be
then-
talking.
And then see.
And we can
make
still
a
be
decision
talking.
when he comes back.
Definitely,
Yeah, no,
That's
I might even-
that's her jam for sure, but I wouldn't, I don't want to
By
be the
then,
one
yeah.
to say that I decided her to, so I want to decide.
We point you-
Yeah, I know her workload already, so I don't want to be that person,
So we'll,
especially when she's not here.
so we'll let it kind of settle.
Yeah.
What I'll do is I'll make sure I understand the direction from the first discussions that we had on
Yeah,
the
no,
description,
cool.
so.
we already
We'll kind
opened
of
up,
keep that
we
one
already
as it is, and then we
opened
can
up the
refine it.
discussion.
Okay,
Yep.
alright, will
Thank you
you
for
be,
I'll
putting
be-
it in that format we kind of had last year too?
Yeah,
Or,
yeah.
okay,
So
great.
put in that format
Okay,
and then incorporating the write-ups that are provided by the subcommittees, essentially under, we'll kind of have a little box text under each one. So,
Cool, alright.
thank you for that.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then now we're on to any Gilroy art related community event updates. Just reiterating the Cinco de Mayo event, 5K, 10K run, celebration of Mexican culture and wellness. I'm hoping to collaborate with actually we'll have Parks and Recs present there and a few other community resource organizations kind of sharing. We've heard interest from the high-speed rail and BTA and a couple other folks that want to kind of share of like the visioning project happening at the moment. So we're looking at those as opportunities. So I'm excited to get that going, but the tickets are on sale for that and yeah, that's gonna be a fun one. That one's at Christmas Soul Park.
Nice.
The right before that is the Wine and Art Stroll in downtown, the GDBA. So I'm just looking at what we said last time.
Yeah.
So all the things that we said,
It's there, and it's starting to all begin, we're getting
yeah,
in the art box and,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
For the,
Yeah.
wine and
No
art
more
store, I
rain.
know that, we were talking about that artists and artist vendors, are being sought. So if I know of an artist that might be a great fit, who might I put them in touch with?
so that would be anyone at GDBA, I believe. Can't remember. I don't remember her name at the moment. But yeah, GDBA is the one in charge of putting that together, so. Yeah, and the third Friday art walks all happening on third Friday of every month. And Poppy Jasper starts
Yeah.
what,
Ninth,
when,
the ninth?
tomorrow?
Yeah,
Tomorrow.
nice.
Poppy Jasper starts tomorrow, get your tickets.
Nice.
Yeah, I need mine still.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll do that. And then any other features? Any other art related stuff happening? No?
Not that I know of.
All right. So then I think we're good to move on to commission comments.
Last night was the proclamation, Arts and Culture
Yeah.
Month, April. And this gentleman was there with his daughter, and they had the roundtable people there, and that was really, it was great. You know, because it was well done, and the presentation to the city council and to the people that were here in the audience. There weren't too many people online, but that's all right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, but
Yeah, because the
I,
month of April is the Arts and Culture Commission and so it's, and then the round table that meets that collaboration, was present as well.
yeah, that was us. I sprung that. I told my daughter she was gonna speak.
Yes.
Like that, like probably an hour before.
Mhm.
So, but I wrote out, we kind of co-wrote her lines and then she was like, okay, I'll just read it. And I'm like, that's all you need to do. You're gonna do great. And so, yeah, she did well. And then I have the link to that as well, but obviously that's on the website already, so. So
And the
that's
proclamation was nicely read too.
Mhm.
I mean, it wasn't
Yeah.
just book. It's just nicely
Yeah,
read.
it was
So
cool.
that was very appreciated.
Yeah.
That back to the city, the month of April, arts and culture.
Mm-hmm. Any other commission comments? No? Okay, we'll move on to staff comment.
A couple for commission.
Yeah.
So our next meeting, May 13th, our Public Works Department will be here to do a presentation to the commission and discussions about the Civic Center master plan. I'll be there for the meeting with the.
So cool.
Yeah.
Following that, on May 20th is the next Civic Center master plan public workshop. And so, there'll be a meeting proceeding, I think, yeah, basically the Monday following or the week following, so. So now that, I believe they're going over the options or the final options for.
A singular direction, as what they
Yeah,
called it
yeah,
today,
yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
A last item I have is, Silicon Valley Creates is looking at starting a boot camp for city arts commissioners. We're looking at sometime in the fall and asking, the cities to see if any of the art commissioners are interested in that. They don't have a specific date or time, but wanted us to basically see if there's any interest in that. So if there's any interest, let me know. You can let me know after the meeting, and then I'll kind of collect a number sent to them and see what.
Is this for folks that are interested in, who are prospectively like entertaining the idea to join in a commission, or like those on the commission?
What is the
Those on the
boot
commission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those-
The new town.
What kind of,
Yes.
who will be camping?
Yeah. So it's definitely geared, sounds like it's geared to clerk commission.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so, let's see here, it has. It says they're providing structured guidelines. It's provided structured guidelines for number of commissions in the past. And basically the training is geared, it's not city specific, so as a respect to
Right.
charters or any of the command requirements. But basically, it says it's a baseline orientation, general training tools for the volunteer arts commissioner position, as well as an opportunity to meet other art commissioners, and so. So it doesn't really provide a lot. It says it may have to be a long lunch or early evening session on a weekday. So it's still in the design phase.
Okay.
So if you're interested, let me know, and I can forward on them. If not, no issue. I'm assuming they'll send more detailed
Right,
information.
right.
And might be of interest at that point, so I'll keep their commission updated as we go.
Yeah, I would just say that that's a great body to
Yeah.
connect with
Yeah.
as our arts council for the county. And it just makes a lot of sense, especially as they're partnering with the city to kind of know where their head's at, what their vision is doing, and if they're willing to create some boot camp. Yeah, I think it's just worth the networking for what it's worth, even at the baseline level would be smart.
Yeah.
That's just all I'm saying. Okay, and that's all? Awesome. Okay, so I think we can, unless there's future agenda item requests, are there anyone has anything? No? You're like, I don't wanna add it. How can we take that? No, I think we're good. Okay, so then I'll adjourn the meeting at 8:03. Thank you everyone for participating. It was a little longer than we're used to, but that was good.
Great.
Thank you.
Got some stuff done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, that's great.
Cool. And that presentation was amazing.
Yeah, no, really.